everyone. I got this pack of paper and die cuts and things a while ago, and I showed it to you on a previous video, and I made a few things, but now I want to finish up some parts of this, not all of the paper, but use more of the die cuts. I don't like all of the die cuts, and so I'm going to show you a way to use some of the things maybe that you don't like very much. So today I'm going to make 7 cards, 3 different designs, and just kind of go through and show you how I'm using up some of these scraps and papers that I haven't yet finished with. So let's get started. The first card I want to do here, I'm going to speed this up so I can just kind of talk through this and you can watch me do this. I'm using some papers that were in the pack, but I'm also supplementing with some papers that I had in my stash. And I want to do this first one with a fun sort of angle detail on here. And one of the things I really like doing is using this sort of sparkly paper that I got at the dollar store, and it's there now and then, and I just cut it into thin strips, and then I can put those strips next to some of the elements on my card just to add a little bit of detail, a little bit of zazing to the cards. And I like to do that. I like to just have some papers ready that I can just cut strips and just make it easy to add some little decorative elements. Here I am going to go ahead and tape my die onto this vellum, and then I'm going to use liquid glue to attach the vellum onto the card because the liquid glue holds better. Now here's an idea. I took a strip, it's a 2-inch wide strip of cardstock, and I'm just adding my 2-inch wide double-sided tape, because then I can go ahead and just have this strip available and cut smaller details out of it, like I'm doing with this little tag or banner that I'm going to add to the card. And then I don't have to fiddle with tiny bits of paper or of adhesive. I just already have it on the back of my cardstock, and then I can cut out little details to put on my cards. And on this one, I made sure to keep the glue off of where it could be seen on the vellum. I just put the liquid glue behind that die. So here's the finished card. So you can see them all here. One of them I added hugs, thanks, but that same diagonal, and being able to use smaller pieces of paper, but it appears as if it's one whole sheet on that background because you've covered the split with that diagonal piece. Okay, here's our next card, also where I'm using 2 pieces to make the look of an entire piece on the back. And so I'm using this HGT tape runner. And I decided to try that because I was buying a lot of tape runners and refills. And I looked at this and saw that instead of 3 yards, this runs with 36 yards of tape, and so it lasts so much longer. And I've really looked at cost, and actually the cost of this is much better. I'll put a link below for this tape runner and the tape refills. And then I'm using that same piece of cardstock where I added the 2-inch tape on the back just to make some more fun accent strips that I can add to my cards and just make them have that little bit of extra pizzazz. And I just really like doing that. I think it's just an easy way to keep some things on hand that will dress up these cards. So I really like this one. I decided to do a thanks for this one, and I'm running it through my little Xyron sticker maker, and it puts the adhesive on the back, and I'm just right here getting rid of some of the little extra stuff between letters, and then it just sticks right down, and I love that. I have some little flowers from a die set. I'm not even sure which one it is that I'm adding to that. And then I'm going to also finish that up with some little dots in just a minute. I like to put a piece of extra cardstock on the inside of my cards because when you add those layers on the outside, the cards on the inside feel a little flimsy. And so I add that extra bit on the inside and to give it a little bit more structure. And then here I'm adding just some little glue dots. I'm not quite sure. I've had these for so many years. I don't know even where I got them, but if I can find them, I will link them in below so you can find them too. But that's the finished card. And I did make two of that design, both of them thank you cards. One of them I added those tiny little flowers. The other one I added a beautiful layered rose. And I'll put the materials I used in the description below. In this third card design, I'm going to show you how I take a die that I don't like and turn it into something that I do. And so in this design, you're using very small scraps. So this is a great design to use when you're kind of at the end of a paper pad and you just don't have very many big scraps left. You can create this sort of little four-piece grid and just use some of your pretty patterned papers. So this is a die I don't like very much, and so I just used a hexagon die and cut out the part of that die that I do like. So the whole swan thing I just wasn't a fan of, but when I used the die I was able to cut out this really pretty single rose out of that one die. And so I cut out a larger hexagon from my patterned paper and then a smaller hexagon out of the die and just created that nice four-piece part with the rose. On this one, I am taping down my background piece, and sorry about my head popping in there. And I'm using some of those strips that I cut from that pretty glitter paper that I got at the dollar store. I just cut them into thin strips, and then I put 3 across the bottom. I taped the piece down to my mat so I could sort of measure and use that as a guide for getting those strips on straight. And so that those grid markings on my mat, that really helps straighten things out. And then I just went ahead and glued on that 4-piece panel that I had already made and then glued that onto my card base that opens to the side. And then just like with the other cards, I will go ahead and add an extra piece to the inside of that card just to give the back of it more structure and make it more the same weight as the front with all of the layers on it. And I made 2 cards in that same design. So now let's take a look at all of our cards that we made today with our scraps and dies that were left over. So we had 3 from this design with the diagonal piece of paper across the front. Great for using up smaller scraps so that you can make it look like a whole panel on the back. And I just used some pretty dies from that die set. The words are from some die sets that I have had, and if I can find them, I will link them below. And then these 2, I think these are my favorite design with the little flowers and the layered rose. I just think they're really pretty and fun. And then this last design, very simple, great idea for using up very small pieces. Now, here are a couple of bonus cards that I'd like to show you. This is a graduation card that I make. It's graduation time of year. And so this is just a simple card that you can slip some money into if you do the gluing on that inside panel big enough to make sure you can slip the money in there. And so this is actually a design that I got from Cricut Design Space. I went in and did a little bit of altering on that graduation hat, but it's basically straight from Design Space. This is another card that my sister and I were experimenting with, where you actually cut out a coil. You cut out a circle and then cut it into a coil and glue it on opposite sides of the card, and you can end up with a pretty little coil in there that opens up, and then you can put all of your little dies of flowers or other things in there in a way that makes it look pretty, and you can open it up and it kind of pops up at you. A little bit of an experiment. In the future, I will do a video showing you exactly how to do that pop-up feature, because I think it's really pretty and easy and fun. So I hope you enjoyed our cards today. I hope that you'll use up some of your scraps and that you'll join me again next time. And go ahead and comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.